Do you remember Scott Peterson? He was the guy from California who 20 years ago was convicted of murdering his pregnant wife Lacey and their unborn son. It was a huge case. Peterson has always said he didn't do it, but now he has the backing of the Los Angeles Innocence Project. Peterson just filed with the California Court of Appeals a 126-page statement. He says in it, quote, "I had absolutely nothing to do with the disappearance and deaths of my wife and son." The Innocence Project helped Peterson file this. They're a nonprofit. They advocate for the wrongfully convicted. The Innocence Project says they've uncovered new scientific evidence and witness accounts that raise serious doubts about Peterson's conviction. They say Peterson may have been in prison for a crime he did not commit. Prosecutors so far have declined to respond to this filing by Peterson. So is this a real shot at exoneration or a last-ditch attempt by Peterson's legal team to rewrite the story that shocked the nation? I'm Kristen Thorne, and this is In Touch Investigates. Scott Peterson was thrust into the national spotlight around 2002. That's when his pregnant wife, Lacey, disappeared. It was Christmas Eve, and this all began as a missing persons case, but quickly turned into a murder investigation. And boy, did the media and the public go wild for this story. In 2004, Peterson, he was convicted of killing both Lacey and their unborn son, Connor. The verdict sparked widespread debate and continues to nearly 2 decades later. In this new petition, the LA Innocence Project is seeking to get Peterson's conviction overturned. They say they have new scientific evidence and witness statements that prove Peterson is innocent, something Peterson, he's been saying since this all happened. Joining me to discuss is legal expert Michael Cordoza. Michael, thank you so much for joining us. The first thing I want to ask you, what was your reaction when you heard that the LA Innocence Project was doing this for Peterson? I mean, I was kind of surprised.
I was a little bit shocked when I heard it, but I know the Innocence Project down in LA, they go through a very rigorous process of vetting the cases that they're going to take. And in this situation, I would imagine they spent months, if not years, taking a look at the Peterson case. The fact that they have decided to take this case isn't going to mean much to the appellate courts. I mean, it happens not a lot, but enough times. The public might think, oh, if they took it, maybe there's something here. Well, there might be something here, but it doesn't mean that the appellate court will give any weight at all that the LA Innocence Project took this case.
This petition references, Michael, new scientific evidence and witness statements. Based on what we know of that so far, could this actually change anything?
I mean, there's been a lot of criticism of how the police investigated this case, because a lot of us think that they made up their minds early on, and there's something called confirmation bias that some people understand. That means that the police early on in the investigation decide in their minds, and in this case, a lot believe, well, Scott did it, so let's go look for evidence to prove that. There is some indication that they did walk by this and said, yeah, okay, come on, it didn't happen on the 24th of December of 2002. It happened days later. But yet the police didn't do what a good investigation or a good investigator should have done in this case. So that really opens it up. Will that alone prove that Scott didn't do it? No, that's not going to be enough alone.
Why do you think the DA's office is resisting so much?
Honestly, I think they're afraid it might get reversed. You have no scientific evidence, no eyewitnesses, nothing but circumstantial evidence. And the emotional charge of this trial was off the hooks. I mean, I've tried over 50 murder trials, and I've never seen how emotionally affected this jury panel was. I don't know whether Scott did it or not. I don't know. But I do know, to my mind, this wasn't a fair trial.
So if the court agrees to hear this petition filed by Scott Peterson, what is the potential timeline? How long could we see if they're actually going to do something with this?
Well, the Court of Appeals will look at the case, and then they will decide whether they should grant Scott Peterson a new trial or not. Scott Peterson did what, a multi-page declaration? So that means he's going to have to be cross-examined. The briefs that they submitted was way over the limit of the appellate court. But it's going to take a while. I mean, just the volume, the voluminous transcripts, the voluminous evidence in the case, that we're going to be in it at least a year, I would think, if not more.
Thank you for joining us, Michael.
You're welcome, Kristen.
So as the Los Angeles Innocence Project moves forward with its petition, Scott Peterson's case is once again under a national microscope. Once again, people are looking over the evidence, the original investigation, and questioning, was justice truly served? Peterson remains behind bars. But with this new legal momentum, the case that once gripped the country may be far from over. For more true crime news, subscribe to In Touch and follow us on all social media channels. For In Touch Investigates, I'm Kristen Thorne.